Hello guys, welcome to Student of Life podcast with your host Ep73. Thank you very much if you are a returning listener, and if you are new, welcome. There's so much episode for you to go through here. This podcast focuses on a journey through our life along with a focus on holistic wellness. So this episode today is all about mental and emotional health awareness in Ghana. So me and a lot of my people have started a certain kind of movement and awareness foundation, which is called Mental and Emotional Awareness Ghana. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly how this happened, my story, and the whole, our vision, our mission, our whole values and everything, and just the movement going forward. So let's get straight into the episode. So I want to start off with my own story, right? I'm Ghanaian. I was born in Ghana and I moved to the UK when I was about 6-7 years old. And I've been here all my life, through primary school, secondary school, college, uni, everything, right? But my parents were born in Ghana. They were raised in Ghana. They went to the schools in Ghana and then moved here to pursue their dreams and do the things that they want to do here, okay? And because of that, they have all their mentalities, their values, their beliefs, everything. The education is Ghana based, okay? And when you have parents who everything of theirs, even though they live in a different country, in the Western, but everything of theirs is still Ghanaian, African, there can be conflict. And that's what happened to me. And this is my story. So when I was in this country, in the UK, we have something called the GCSE. That's your final exams before you go into college, college, yeah. And usually at the age of 14, 15, year 10, year 9, year 10, that's when you start to pick the courses you want to do. And usually it's the course you're going to be taken into all the way through to uni. And I always knew from a very young age that I wanted to create. I loved music. I loved even acting. When I was in school, I used to do drama. I used to love acting. I loved anything to do with creating. I loved art, fashion, everything, textiles. And I always knew that I want to do something to just creating. I didn't really know if I want to be specifically into fashion, specifically into art, specifically into whatever it was. But I knew I just wanted to create something from within. That was it. And when you know yourself from that young, sometimes with African parents can be a conflict. Because for me, my father always wanted me to be a doctor. He always wanted me to go into medicine. Always wanted me to go into medicine. So when he hears that you now want to do into creating and arts and all these kind of things, I'm what? No, not in this house. So it became a really big conflict, a misunderstanding. So I came home with my my little sheet thing where it's your parents have to sign it that those are courses you want to do to end off your school with, blah 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 blah. And he didn't want to sign it. He was not with it because you're supposed to sit down with your parents and then pick these courses together, and the school would decide where to put you, what they feel is best as well. And then you're just hoping that you get your first choices of the course you want to do, because people come obviously basically you're competing with other people as well. And my parents wasn't having it, and it became a whole big thing to the point where it was just very toxic in the house. It was very toxic in the house. When your parents give that silent treatment, that if you live in an African household, that you get shy at, a whole lot of things. And for me, I've always been like this as a kid, and I'm still like this even as an adult. I don't like stress. I don't like anything that stresses me out. Anything that kind of just makes me feel out of alignment, I can't deal with it. Every part of me just runs. It just can't do it. And imagine me now, I know how to move to certain things as an adult. I know how to do certain things. I know how to position myself in the same place. And because I understand myself, I know how to move. But imagine as a kid when you're 14, 15 years old, where you don't even understand, what's going on. You don't even understand that it's stress you're going through. It's anxiety that you're going through. It's pressure you're going through. You don't know that. You just know that the whole world feels it's on your shoulders. You're going through a lot of burdens. You feel you're not making your parents proud. You feel you want to do what you want to do, but no one understands you in the family. You feel you're kind of letting people down when all you want to do is just be happy and just do what you love. And then, your parents just kind of having big conflict with you in the house. So the point where my mental health as a child, my mental and emotional health was down. I didn't know what mental health and emotional was at age 14, 15. So I used to go to school wearing that same kind of leaving home, going to school and going to school with the house problems. Everything I was feeling at home, everything, going to school with it. I was done. One of my teachers realized it, that I was different. Because I was the kid in school that I put my hands up to answer the questions. I'm very like confident in school. Like I'm not hiding behind the background shy. That wasn't me. So my teacher realized that, oh, nah, there's something wrong here. So when I spoke to her about it, I was like, my parents don't really want me to do, the art courses and stuff. Like they're really, really unhappy, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, I just want to do it. And I really want to do it, but I feel like it's not going to make them proud because I'm basically going out the grains. But something in me is still telling me to go ahead and do it. So it's like I'm battling with myself and with my parents. And she really understood, and she was able to like, go through with me, like, just explain a lot of things to me. And, she understood where my parents were coming from. So over time, she kind of basically picked up that like my mental and emotional health, like when it comes to school and everything, like was deteriorating. Like I wasn't answering questions. I wasn't redoing my work properly. I was really just like off. So the point she reported to the school, the head teacher, and then the head teacher got me a counselor in school. And we're going to come back to the importance of having counselors in school in a minute. Because they got me a counselor, I was able to speak to this person, right, who tell them what's going on, tell them how I was feeling and everything. I wasn't really trusting in the beginning. And my counselor, shout out to her because she was absolutely amazing. Like, to earn my trust, she realized that I loved music. Like, I love music. Anyone who knows me, that I love music. She bought me my first iPod, little like iPods that first came out like from Apple, little tiny ones. Then you press the middles and stuff, and you can move around. Yeah. So she bought me that one, a green one, and through that, I started trusting her a bit better. Like, we started being in a relationship where I started talking to her about like, how I was feeling and emotions and everything. To the point where like it got really bad to the point I literally told her like, I want to kill myself. I feel like I need to leave this world. I feel like, my parents understand me. No one gets it. All my family members are like, they don't understand. They understand why I'm doing this because my family's very academic. They feel like I'm just like, just being stubborn, just not listening. But inside of me, something is telling me that this is a path for me. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to like just create. But no one understands it. And I don't want to keep fighting because it's making them, it's like they don't like me. And I don't like that they don't like me. And I just want to leave. I feel like if I leave this world, everybody be happy. And to her, look, for me, I was just like, and I was planning literally how I want to like kill myself, literally self-harming myself, everything in my head. And I was telling her that. And it really shoots us like a red flag, like alarm. So she reported it to the teacher, to our head teacher. They basically called my parents to come so we can talk about it, see like how they can find help for me, how we can all like, how they can basically make sure like I'm okay and like I'm good. And obviously African parents, they look at it like you took family problems to school. They don't look at it like, you're a child who's 14, 15, trying to understand a lot of things, trying to do what you love, but no one understands you. They don't look at it like that. You're going through emotional health issues. You feeling misunderstood. They don't understand none of that. They just think you're embarrassing us. You're making it look like we don't take care of you, kind of thing. And it became a whole big thing. Like they were like kill us afterwards. Like they didn't understand that at all. So point it became a whole bigger issue when I went home. Was like you've embarrassed us, like a whole lot of things. And they just couldn't see the thing of like my child is going through emotional and mental health issues, feeling isolated, feeling misunderstood, feeling down, feeling stressed, having anxiety, not feeling comfortable. They couldn't get that. And I don't blame them that they couldn't get that because where they come from, they never had any education on that. And they was born and raised and grew up and did everything, all the adulthood in Ghana. They were never taught that. So I don't blame them. They just was misunderstood. And they were misunderstood themselves and they just didn't have education on it. So their first response was, you're embarrassing us. It took my head teachers and my head teacher and my counselor who really kind of like, and their therapist came in, who they really like took me through and they really like stood behind me, like make sure like, I was doing what I loved. And they really got to understand like, yo, you're really good at what you do. You're really good at this creative thing. Like, you're amazing. Like, nah, we're going to push you. You're going to do it. So when my parents realized like that, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And they just kind of left me to it. But even that, the house was never in peace. Like I was just never left alone in peace ever, basically, yeah. And that was my first ever mental and emotional health like challenge I've ever been through in my life. I was just 14, 15. And that was how I had it. Okay. And even like the stress and everything I went through after, because now your parents think you're taking the problems outside. And I know that as I'm telling this story, a lot of Africans who have parents who are who migrated to the UK, to America, to Europe, just to a different, it's like, to the Western world. But you as a child, maybe you was born here, maybe you came here when you was really little, and you have grown up here. Like the way of you doing things is different. Like you don't have the typical African mentality. You're educated more because certain things like in this country in school, they teach you certain things. Like my teachers understood mental and emotional health. In Ghana, they don't even understand that. I know a lot of people probably are thinking like, oh my God, I've been through the same thing. Oh my God, like, yeah. And this is like where she's coming from. Oh my God, African parents. Yes. And At that time, I didn't understand what's going on, but now I do. Like 10 years later, I do. And I see the red flags and all that. And I see all that, like, that's a no-no. And I started my podcast last year. And my podcast, as you guys know, is focused on, like, you know, emotional health, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally, just like people as we're going through life and everything, and just like, you know, how to like be a student of life, how to personal development, self-improvement, and just all of the above, and like, you know, wellness and everything, and even spirituality also involved as well. A lot of you that have been listening to this from since I started last year, like, you guys know like how my podcast goes, and because of that, I have been able to connect with a lot of people around the world, and I'll say probably like 50% of them are like Ghanaians. The other 50 is like, you know, other African countries, and also like, you know, Caucasians and other ethnicities as well. But 50% are literally Ghanaians around the world and in Ghana. Okay. And I have so many people that are in Ghana. I've probably about 30% of them are in Ghana, like literally based in Ghana. And so many of them have been able to like, because I talk to a lot of my listeners, like on Snapchat, Instagram, like I respond back, like I talk to them, we have conversations, sometimes even become my friends, like we should build relationships and stuff. And one thing that kept coming up all the time is that anytime I talk about their problems, they want advice on something, like about 70% of their problems and their things that they're going through in life, it's all about like mental and emotional health issues. And them feeling like they have no one else to talk to. And then even their parents, they feel like they can't talk to their parents because their parents don't understand. Even in their schools, like they try to get help in their schools. There's no counselors, there's no therapists, there's nobody in their school that is educated on mental health. Their friends don't understand it, their parents don't, their society doesn't, their communities don't. And now they just feel like they're going through by themselves. And then they find me obviously and they feel like they can talk to me because they feel like I understand those kind of things. And I want to talk to them and get them out of it. I've talked to people who are literally suicidal, like at the edge of killing themselves. And by God's grace, it's not me, but I believe it's God's grace. I was able to like help them get out. I've helped 3 people get out like that, suicidal. And it was all mental and emotional health issues and them feeling like they have nowhere to run to. Through all of this, I have come to realize that it's time for us to stand up. Like our parents, they didn't get these educations, and it's now us they're suffering from it, right? In a society now, it's different from our parents' society when we were growing up, right? And they didn't get this education, they didn't understand any of these things. And us in our like day and age, our generation, where we understand emotional health a bit, where we understand mental health, because you know the social media has made the whole world like into one place. Where even if like you know your country like Ghana doesn't really talk about emotional health and mental health, maybe you've heard other people talk about another country, like you know kind of something about it. You've heard depression, you've heard anxiety, like you know you have a bit of education on it. Do you know what I'm saying? So we can't look at like because you know our parents understand it, like you know and just like no. It's time for us to make sure like our generation and like our like where we are now, we create like a better society and a better community for those that, for our children that will come up, for our, like our younger sisters, our younger brothers, and the next generation is going to come up. And even to the point where we're even educating our parents as well. And that is how like this whole mental and emotional health awareness kind of like issue was birthed. Was from my own experience, seeing a problem and now trying to find a way to like solve that problem, create a solution. So what I've done is created an Instagram page first of all. It's just like and the post is going to be all educational and very insightful ones. Like first with some of education, what is mental health, what is emotional health, how to even spot it in people, how to know that even you have it, how to see that maybe your friend is going through, even though they don't understand what they're going through, how to know that, oh no, you're going through emotional health issues, or you're going through mental health issues, or this is what you're going through, or this is what you're going through, so that we can help each other, so we can help our people. Okay? And this is not just about Ghana, this is about Africa. Because people from Nigeria is watching me, people from Togo, from Benin, from South Africa is watching me. We can all relate. It's not just a Ghana thing. Africa in general, we're just behind when it comes to education. Things like, so many things, with sanitation, wellness, mental and emotional, everywhere, we're just very, very behind. And one thing about Africans is that we put everything to do spirituality. Like everything is in spirituality, everything is in spirits, possessing people. People have real life issues, real life things, like life is hard for people. People are going through things, people are heartbroken, people are going through pain, traumas, childhood things. People are going through like things that they can't even like speak, they can't even understand. It has something to do with spirits. Some of these things can be dealt with like using like cognitive like behavior therapy, but we don't have that. You know, Ghana is like literally over like 30 million population, right? We have only 3 psychiatric hospitals within the country. That is like not enough. There's so many, if you go to Ghana, there's so many people who are walking around on the streets that are literally like, they tag them as they're mad. But it's not that most of them, like, they're not mad. I'll say about 50% of them, they're not mad. They've gone through depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenic, like personality disorders, so many different things. And because the society they live in, their families, their friends, their communities they understand that. They've lived as they're mad, and now they've just gone over the board. They have no like help. Now they're out on the street, and now they're tagging them as mad. All they need is just like some help. All needs a community. And for me, this is such like a, again, like as you guys have heard my story, it's very personal to me. And it's also like for my listeners and people that I've spoken to, like, and so many other people that I haven't even been able to speak to. I feel like it's time for us to do something like this. This is an awareness movement. This is not just me. This is not a me thing. This is a we thing. I can't do it alone. It's about all of us coming together to do it. So all of my Ghanaians, all of my Africans is watching me. Wherever you're from, the page is M and E. So literally, I'll put it right at the bottom of like this video. And if you're listening to me on, like, you know, on any podcast platforms, you can basically find a Instagram link, basically like in the show description, the show note. But if you're watching right now, it's already here for you. Follow the page, repost everything that we post on there. There's going to be so much information posted on that Instagram. And the whole point of, like, you know, this thing, our mission is to like create a society that is stigma-free, a society where we understand mental and emotional health deeply, a society where we prioritize mental health of each other as people, a society where the schools, churches, communities have, you know, infrastructures which helps people when it comes to their mental and emotional health issues, where schools have counselors that are educated, counselors that are insightful, counselors that are motivated to help the people. Not those that you message them and email them, and it'll take them like 3 months to get back to you. Because I've had an issue with somebody who literally told me they tried to contact the counselor in their school. They have a counselor in their school, in the university. I think the school was Legon or something like that. And it took them like 3 months to get back to them. If the person wanted to kill themselves, 3 months, they would have killed us already. You've lost somebody. Because the counselors that are in the schools are just basically uneducated and serious. Unmotivated. There's a lot of people, even in the country in general, there's a shortage of like mental health nurses, a shortage of psychiatrists, like a whole shortage of like therapists, counselors, like people who need to, like people that are needed in the mental and emotional health and wellness community. Because a lot of people don't understand. They feel like, you know, oh, me going to study this course, or, you know, doing a course in mental health or like, you know, emotional health and wellness and all those things like that is basically going to look after my people. That's the mentality of like my people. And again, it's not their fault. You're not informed, you're not educated. And until like they're going through something, or their family member is going through something, or their friend, or like, you know, their partner, their children are going through something, that's when then they realize like, oh, this thing is really serious, or like this is actually a thing. And you don't need to wait for your family or your friend or your partner, your child to go through something for you to realize it. Because you could really be you tomorrow, or somebody that you love tomorrow. So follow the page, follow the movement. And I'm going to be literally like, you know, updating you guys on everything, because this is not just going to be something on social media. It's going to be an event that's going to happen in Ghana. It's going to be like a whole push behind it, a whole movement, everything behind it. And I'll keep you guys updated on, you know, as I plan everything out, everything we're doing. And I say it's only me. I have amazing people. I have my partner. I have some of my friends who are involved in this, like who's helping. They're passionate. My best friend literally, like, she's on a pursuit of like becoming a mental health nurse because she's so passionate about it. And I'm so proud of her for like even wanting to do something like that. So that is the episode for today, guys. It's just to like, you know, let you guys know what I'm doing, and that it's not just about me, it's about we, and how to get involved, and, you know, for my people. And this, again, it's a movement for the people, by the people. Because again, I'm Ghanaian. I might live, you know, in the UK. I might not be easily affected by some of the things that happen in Ghana, but I have family there. My partner has family there. I have friends. My best friend is in Ghana. So anything that happens in a country affects them as well. And I have loved ones that affects them. It's my country. I have my people there. It's a country that, you know, I want to visit often. I want to be in that country. I want it to be like my home, like my second home at some point. I want my children to like to know the country. I want them to be there. And if you don't start now, like putting things in place, changing the systems, pushing for certain things to be changed, like policymakers, like for them to change certain things around, for infrastructures to be put into place, for schools and like the society and everything to just be done, We will grow up, our kids will grow up and it'll still be the same community, same thing. Like, oh, it's always Africans, it's always black people that don't understand mental health. It's always black people that don't understand anything. It's always black people that, are not educated. It's always black people that, they don't take certain things seriously. No. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for staying all the way to the end with me. And I hope that, all of this and everything touched your heart, and it pushes you to also do your part within your community. Do your part, with being part of the movement, following the page, reshare, repost everything that we post on there, and following this whole journey. Because this is gonna be a journey, guys. I'm gonna take you on. This is an activism journey. Yeah, it's an activism journey. It's not just a talk. It's not just a social media thing. It's a real thing. So join me and follow the journey. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon. Mwah.